Hello YouTube, this is DVD Review Studios here, and today I'm going to be doing a review on Star Wars The Clone Wars The Complete Season 1 on Blu-ray. This is going to be the beginning of a new review series where I go through the Clone Wars seasons one by one and review them in their own separate videos. However, in this video I'm going to be showing basically all the sets that I have of the Clone Wars so far, and this season 1 is a thin case edition which I grabbed in the seasons 1 through to 5 Blu-ray box set, which I will show now. And here is the 1 through to 5 Blu-ray box set. This contains, of course, seasons 1 to 5, and does not include the Clone Wars movie, nor does it include the 6th season, which is the Lost Missions. But it is a very nice compact way to grab the vast majority of the show, and each individual season is rated a PG. And there's the back showing the individual Blu-ray case covers, and then we have a brief synopsis of the entire show, and a list of special features that can be found on each individual Blu-ray case. So that's 1 through to 5. We also have the Clone Wars movie, which I grabbed on DVD. Honestly, not a big fan of this, but of course it does begin what is essentially the main storyline of the Clone Wars, so it is essential, sadly. But to be honest, it's not too bad. It's just the animation's quite choppy, and a lot of it is very childish, but honestly, what it does evolve into in terms of the TV show is absolutely stunning. And I'll be talking about this briefly in the Season 1 review. And we also have the Lost Missions, aka Season 6, which is a US imported Blu-ray, which is multi-region, thankfully. So those of us in the UK who sadly go without this being released in the UK, we can have the last 13 episodes of the show in our collections. And this is a very nice, very compact, very thin case 2-disc Blu-ray set. So before I begin with reviewing Season 1, I just wanted to point out something that I found of interest. What put me off watching the show initially was the fact that the episodes are not in chronological order. It doesn't follow a very specifically structured storyline, which is interesting to say the least. However, I found this very useful episode guide online, so I bought the entirety of the show and began watching, and I'm really thoroughly enjoying it. I'm about halfway through as of the time of recording this video. But what was interesting is how it really is quite convoluted to watch this in chronological order. For instance, of course, just as an example, we begin with Season 2 episode 16, then we jump to Season 1 episode 16, then the movie, some Season 3 episodes, then we start Season 1, and then we have a Season 3 episode jump in there, then we continue Season 1, etc. And this is a double-page spread of all 121 episodes plus the movie. So you can see how that can get quite convoluted. But what was interesting, as an example, speaking specifically about the Season 1 finale episode, which is titled Hostage Crisis, there's an episode on Season 3 called Evil Plans, which is actually a prequel to Hostage Crisis, and to be honest, I wouldn't have been as impressed with Hostage Crisis if I hadn't watched Evil Plans. So it's just really interesting to see all these episodes and how they link together. And if you've watched Clone Wars and you've watched it out of sync, I recommend downloading this. I'll put a link to the description as to where I found this list. And you can watch all the episodes in chronological order. They don't fit watertight together, for instance. Some of them are separate story arcs, etc. But this is very, very good, and has been proven to me at least to be extremely good with understanding. I'm really thoroughly enjoying this show. So that's just something I wanted to bring up. Anyway, let's get to Season 1. So here is Season 1, of course. On the front cover we have Clone Commander Cody. There's the spy in Clone Wars Season 1 rated PG. On the back we have a very cool piece of artwork from certainly one of the most memorable episodes. 22 episodes included on this first season, and we have some really great special features. In particular, I really thoroughly enjoyed the behind-the-scenes featurettes with director Dave Filoni and the cast and crew involved on certain episodes. In particular, I really enjoyed Filoni's enthusiasm for the episode Hostage Crisis, since he talks about just the very cool intricacies of character design with characters such as Aurora Singh and Cad Bane, the bounty hunters in that episode, which were fantastic. And of course, with the episode in comparison to the other ones being very action-packed and overly violent, which is quite interesting, and certainly it did capture my interest. So some really good stuff. I love the 3D models and artwork for this show, and certainly some fantastic features on here. Anyway, so the total running time of this first season is 502 minutes. It's a 3-disc set. On disc 1 we have Captain Rex, disc 2 we have Cody, and disc 3 we have Gree. So in terms of the episodes, to be honest, I'm not going to be talking about each individual episode, mainly because life is too short. but also because not every episode has the same amount of depth and substance. For instance, the first episode is titled Ambush, and it literally is as it reads. Yoda more or less inspires three clone troopers who feel they don't have the strength together or manpower or will to fight a droid army, and then they fight a droid army with Yoda who shows them how. Not a great episode. It's more of a welcoming sort of opener, I would imagine, for younger audiences, just to give a brief moral. But that's about it. You're not really going to get anything else from an episode like that. But I really enjoyed the following few episodes, which build a really cool story arc, mostly focusing on the character of Plo Koon, who wasn't really fleshed out in the prequel movie, so it's good to see characters like that fleshed out in the animated show. And it focuses on the Separatists led by General Grievous, as they have a secret weapon, which is a little pulse electrical beam shot into space, and if shot at a ship, it will disable the ship, and then little droids on rocket packs will come along and kill any remaining survivors. Surprisingly quite sinister. And I really enjoyed those few episodes, especially for the character development and overall great chemistry between Plo Koon and Ahsoka. We have some really great episodes on Disc 2, but before I get to those, I will focus on the worst episode on this entire set, and that is Bombad Jedi, where Jar Jar Binks finds a Jedi cloak. He wears it to basically cause a distraction to save Padme and 3PO, and the Separatists actually think that he is a Jedi, which is ludicrous. And then we have some really cool episodes, beginning with Lair of Grievous, which is another extended director's cut, which had some great focusing on the character of Kit Fisto. And I really enjoyed this episode, mainly because it showed Grievous in a similar way to how Anakin is portrayed when he becomes Darth Vader. A very physically damaged and tortured character hiding in a mask, which is a brutal but beautiful concept as well. It's a really great juxtaposition, and I just love the anger and power and fury of Grievous in these episodes, and I love how he tries to prove himself to Dooku. Just overall some great chemistry between those two characters as well, and some great lightsaber fights, etc. in that episode. What's interesting is the episodes that follow, which are kind of sort of connected. They focus on Dooku, who was actually captured by pirates who then hold him for ransom. And so they send a couple of Jedi Knights, which happen to be Anakin and Obi, who then also get captured. And so all three of them have to work together to get away from the pirates led by the hilarious Hondo Ohnaka, which I really love his character in particular. Continuing with Disc 2, first of all, we have Jedi Crash, which is a very good episode where, sadly, Anakin gets gravely injured in a spaceship crash. And I really quite like that episode because when the characters seek refuge and try and get help, they come across some pacifist aliens which are literally blinded to what the Clone War really is, and they are forced to choose sides after seeing the influence of the Republic and the Separatists when both interfere. So some very good stuff there. Moving on to Disc 3, we have two of my favourite episodes on there, and those were the Blue Shadow Virus episodes, where a mad doctor character creates a virus, as said, and sadly Ahsoka, Padme, and some of the clone troopers do get infected, and so that means that Anakin and Obi-Wan have 48 hours to find an antidote, and I really enjoyed the chemistry between those two characters. The voice actors of Obi-Wan and Anakin are certainly fantastic in this Clone Wars series. And then next up we have what I will call the Ryloth three-parter, which are all three of those episodes are extended director's cuts, which focus on a group of Twi'lek hostages being taken by the Separatist characters, and so the clone troopers must devise a plan to try and free them and destroy the droids. And finally, the season finale, Hostage Crisis, which I really, really thoroughly enjoyed. I've praised that episode throughout this entire video, and it really did make me reconsider my thoughts on the Clone Wars movie because of how it really does quite directly link to this movie, and I quite enjoyed the aspect of the bounty hunters working for the Hutts. And the whole purpose of that was to free Zero the Hutt, who was the antagonist in this movie for kidnapping Jabba's son, Rotta. And the movie itself isn't great, to be honest. There's not much to the movie. I quite like the character of Asajj Ventress, who was also in Season 1 of The Clone Wars, but other than that, there really isn't much to this. And personally, I wouldn't recommend it, but it is worth the one watch to focus on how Ahsoka became Anakin's Padawan. So that's pretty much it for my reviews on Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 1. and the Clone Wars movie. Overall, not bad. I actually really enjoyed Season 1 of the Clone Wars, and the Clone Wars movie isn't terrible. It is watchable, but it certainly isn't something I will be revisiting anytime soon. Some great character designs in this show. I'm looking forward to watching the rest of it, and I will be reviewing the next few seasons in the near future. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Clone Wars show, and please subscribe down below for more.